Hey everyone! Welcome to another episode of The Radium Girls. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Valerie.
And today we are bringing you a story about a topic that I absolutely love to discuss. Like, it's one of my favorite topics to talk about.
One of your favorite?
One of my favorites. I love the history behind, well, not necessarily the history, but like the stories behind this topic, which, okay, if you're on our podcast, you obviously see we're talking about reincarnation and past lives in children.
Yeah.
But I love it. I've always been fascinated by it. So
yeah. Like years ago, I came across like on Reddit, them giving stories about like children talking about their past lives. No, it just went down the rabbit hole.
It is a rabbit hole, that's for sure.
I'm like, oh, I need to read some more of these.
Yes, it's just so fascinating how these kids can remember a life that's not theirs. Yeah. Or not their current one.
Yeah. It's so like... Never mind, I'll save that for the end.
So let's jump into some stories about children's past lives.
Let's do it. Some young children, usually between the ages of 2 and 5, speak about memories of a previous life they claim to have lived. At the same time, they often show behaviors such as phobias or preferences that are unusual within the context of their particular family and cannot be explained by any current life events. These memories appear to be consistent with the child's statements about a previous life. In many cases of this type, the children's statements have been shown to correspond accurately to the facts in the life and death of a deceased person. Some of the children have birthmarks and birth defects that correspond to wounds or other marks on the deceased person whose life is being remembered by the child. In numerous cases, post-mortem reports have confirmed these correspondences. Older children may retain these apparent memories, but generally they seem to fade around the age of 7. The young subjects of these cases have been found all over the world, including Europe and North America.
Here's a story from a young child named Ryan. When Ryan was 4, he began directing imaginary movies. Shouts of action often echoed from his room. But the plague became a concern for Ryan's parents when he began waking up in the middle of the night, screaming and clutching his chest, saying he dreamed his heart exploded when he was in Hollywood. His mother asked his doctor about the episodes. Night terrors, the doctor said. He'll outgrow them. Then, one night, as his mother tucked Ryan into bed, he suddenly took a hold of her hand. Mama, he said, I think I used to be someone else. He said he remembered a big white house and a swimming pool. It was in Hollywood, many miles from his Oklahoma home. He said he had 3 sons, but that he couldn't remember their names. He began to cry, asking his mother over and over why couldn't he remember their names.
I really didn't know what to do, she said. I was more in shock than anything. He was so insistent about it. After that night, he kept talking about it, kept getting upset about not being able to remember those names. I started searching the internet about reincarnation. I even got some books from the library on Hollywood, thinking their pictures might help him. I didn't tell anyone for months. One day, as Ryan and his mom paged through one of the Hollywood books, Ryan stopped at a black and white still taken from a 1930s movie, Night After Night. 2 men in the center of the picture were confronting one another. 4 other men surrounded them. His mother didn't recognize any of the faces, but Ryan pointed to one of the men in the middle. Hey, Mama, he said, that's George. We did a picture together. His finger then shot over to a man on the right wearing an overcoat and scowl. That guy's me. I found me.
The book didn't provide any names of the actors pictured, but she quickly confirmed that the man Ryan said was George in the photo was indeed a George Raft, an all but forgotten film star from the 1930s and 40s. Still, his mother couldn't identify the man Ryan said had been him. She wrote Tucker, whom she found through her online research, and included the photo. Eventually, it ended up in the hands of a film archivist, who, after weeks of research, confirmed the scowling man's name, Martin, an uncredited extra in the film. Not long afterward, Tucker and the family traveled to California to meet Martin's daughter, who had been tracked down by researchers working with Tucker on a documentary. Tucker sat down with the woman before her meeting with Ryan. She'd been reluctant to help, but during her talk with Tucker, she confirmed dozens of facts Ryan had given about her father.
Ryan said he danced in New York. Martin was a Broadway dancer. Ryan said he was also an agent and that people where he worked had changed their names. Martin worked 4 years at a well-known talent agency in Hollywood, where stage names are often created after his dancing career ended. Ryan said his old address had Rock in its name. Martin lived at 825 North Roxbury Drive in Beverly Hills. Ryan said he knew a man named Senator Five. Martin's daughter said she had a picture of her father with the Senator Ives. Irving Ives of New York, who served in the U.S. Senate from 1947 to 1959. And yes, Martin had 3 sons. The daughter, of course, knew their names. So another story. 2-year-old James is a Louisiana boy who loved toy planes, but he started to have repeated nightmares of a horrible plane crash. He would kick his legs up in the air, screaming, "Airplane crash on fire! Little man can't get out!" What?
That's not funny. Leave it to Val to laugh at the really dark stuff.
I was like, a little man can't get out.
Well, he's 2.
But then, why would you say that? That's funny. Okay, my bad. Then, during the day, he would slam his toy planes into the family's coffee table while yelling, "Airplane crash on fire."
Why are you laughing at this 2-year-old, Val?
I'm laughing at me because he's like yelling it, and I'm just like,
"Airplane crash on fire."
I don't want to yell. Okay,
just go,
let's see.
"Airplane crash on fire."
Airplane crash on fire. To the extent that there were dozens of scratches and dents on the table.
Dang, he's being aggressive about it.
It's on fire.
James talked about the crash, relating that he had been a pilot and that he had flown off a boat. His father asked him the name of the boat, and he said, "Natoma." When his father remarked, "That sounds Japanese to me," James replied, "No, it's American."
Okay.
Sorry, I'm not laughing because it's funny. Now I sound like Bailey Sarian. James went on to say that he had piloted a type of plane called a Corsair, that his nickname was Little Man, and that he had a friend on the boat named Jack Larson.
Oh, his nickname was Little Man.
Yeah, Little Man can't get out.
Oh,
Little plane's on fire. After years of painstaking research, James' father learned that an American aircraft carrier, the USS Natoma Bay, had supported operations at Iwo Jima during that World War II battle, and that it had lost one pilot there, a young man from Pennsylvania named James Huston. His plane crashed almost exactly as described, hit in the engine, exploding, crashing into the water, and quickly sinking. Mm-hmm. And the pilot in the plane next to his, when this happened, was named Jack Larson. Spooky.
These type of memories typically fade around 6 years of age. These kids involved usually express a desire as well to fully embrace the life they're in now. It's nearly impossible to conceive how children so young should have such vivid memories, or how they, or anyone connected with them for that matter, could have known anything about such obscure figures from the past. Could there be a mechanism somewhere between life and death where memories associated with the struggling person's circumstances are preserved?
I don't know. A Turkish boy whose face was congenitally underdeveloped on the right side said he remembered the life of a man who died from a shotgun blast at point-blank range. A Burmese girl born without her lower right leg had talked about the life of a girl run over by a train. On the back of the head of a little boy in Thailand was a small, round, puckered birthmark, and at the front was a larger, irregular birthmark resembling... Did you say something?
Oh, wow.
Oh.
He had like front and back.
Mm-hmm. Resembling the entry and exit wounds of a bullet. Dr. Ian Stevenson had already confirmed the details of the boy's statements about the life of a man who'd been shot in the head from behind with a rifle, so that seemed to fit. And a child in India who said he remembered the life of a boy who'd lost the fingers of his right hand in a fodder chopping machine mishap was born with boneless stubs for fingers on his right hand only. That's uncanny. This type of unilateral brachydactyly
I think you said it right, but it's still funny.
It is so funny. It's so rare that he couldn't find a single medical publication of another case. Although past lives may be common, only a small percentage of children retained any memories of their previous existence. Even in India, where nearly everyone believes in reincarnation and it's nothing special, only about 1 in every 500 children fit the bill.
Dr. Ian Stevenson, former professor of psychiatry at the University of Virginia School of Medicine, this former chairman of the Department of Psychiatry and Neurology investigated over 3,000 independent stories of children who claim to have memories and know people from their alleged past lives. According to Stevenson, the number of cases that are worth considering is so high that it exceeds the ability of him and his team to investigate them all.
3,000? That's crazy.
3,000. Facial recognition software confirmed that there was a facial resemblance to their alleged prior incarnation. Oh, that's crazy. There's resemblance.
Mm-hmm.
Many of his subjects had unusual birthmarks and birth defects, such as finger deformities, underdeveloped ears, or being born without a lower leg. These are all areas where they allegedly suffered fatal wounds from their past life. They were often dramatic and sometimes bizarre lesions, such as malformed digits, misshapen heads, and odd markings. There were scar-like, hypopigmented birthmarks and port wine stains. And some awfully strange-looking moles in areas where you almost never find moles, like on the soles of the feet. Reincarnation and Biology contained 225 case reports of children who remember previous lives and who also had physical anomalies that match those previous lives, details that could in some cases be confirmed by the dead person's autopsy record and photos.
Dr. Stevenson writes in his paper, Birthmarks and Defects Corresponding to Wounds on Deceased Persons, in the peer-reviewed Journal of Scientific Exploration. About 35% of children who claim to remember previous lives have birthmarks and or birth defects that they or adult informants attribute to wounds on a person whose life the child remembers. The cases of 210 such children have been investigated. The birthmarks were usually areas of hairless, puckered skin. Some were areas of little or no pigmentation. Others were areas of increased pigmentation. The birth defects were nearly always of rare types. In cases in which a deceased person was identified, the details of whose life unmistakably matched the child's statements, a close correspondence was nearly always found between the birthmarks and or birth defects on the child and the wounds on the deceased person. In 43 of 49 cases in which a medical document, usually a postmortem report, was obtained, it confirmed the correspondence between wounds and birthmarks or birth defects. That's what he put in his paper. In case you forgot. You know?
The memories the children recalled were far too specific to be chalked up to chance. In an article where 3 cases were looked at in great detail by Dr. Stevenson, he reported that each of the children made roughly 30 to 40 claims regarding memories they had of their past lives, 82 to 92% of which were both verifiable and correct.
That's pretty high accuracy there.
Yeah, for real. The particularities and specific details that were given by the children ranged from anything from their names, personalities, and occupations of their former parents and siblings to the precise layouts of the houses they lived in. It was not uncommon for Stevenson to encounter a child who could go into a town he had never been in before and give him the details of the village, former personal belongings, and the neighborhood in which he lived in a past life and the people who he used to associate with.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. As he concludes, it was possible in each case to find a family that had lost a member whose life corresponded to the subject's statement. The statements of the subject, taken as a group, were sufficiently specific so that they could not have corresponded to the life of any other person. We believe we have excluded normal transmission of the correct information to the subjects and obtained the correct information they showed about the concerned deceased person by some paranormal process.
Something which interested Dr. Stevenson was the phobias that were developed from past life traumas. As Dr. Jim Tucker writes, another area that interested Ian was the behavior of these children. He wrote a paper about phobias that many of the children showed, usually related to the mode of death from the life they claimed to remember. He reported that 36% of the children in a series of 387 cases showed such fears. They occurred when the children were very young, sometimes before they had made their claims about the previous life. For example, he described a girl in Sri Lanka who, as a baby, resisted baths so much that 3 adults had to hold her down to give her one. I wonder if that's what's wrong with Maddox, because he does not like he's okay with baths, but washing his hair.
Yeah.
Like, what is it about your hair?
I
doubt it. He hasn't talked about past lives, so I doubt it, but still. By the age of 6 months, she also showed a marked phobia of buses, and then later described the life of a girl in another village who had been walking along a narrow road between flooded paddy fields when she stepped back to avoid a bus going by, fell into the floodwater, and drowned.
Dang.
Yeah. What seems to be more than mere chance is that children were able to accurately identify former acquaintances and relationships they had with people in their prior lives. Most impressively was a Lebanese girl who was able to remember and identify 25 different people from her past life and the interpersonal relationship she had with them. His best findings were put together in a book called 20 Cases Suggestive of Reincarnation. The American Journal of Psychiatry reviewed these cases and said that there were cases recorded in such full detail as to persuade the open mind that reincarnation is a tenable hypothesis to explain them. He had several other books and papers published and widely accepted in the mainstream community.
During a presentation at Penn State University in 2005, Dr. Jim B. Tucker, a child psychiatrist at the University of Virginia, described how a mother was leaning over the changing table to change her son's diaper. Her young toddler unexpectedly said, "When I was your age, I used to change your diapers." Oh my God. Sam Taylor of Vermont was born 18 months following his grandfather's death. Aww. When he made this comment, he was only a few years old. When he was 4.5 years old, however, Taylor was able to pick out his grandfather from a class picture of about 20 people and identify his grandfather's first car from a photograph. So these children are crazy.
Are they crazy?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy that they can do that. Like, what?
It's not that they can do that, it's that they remember.
It's crazy that they remember.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah. But, like, also, on, like, another hand, I was thinking, I think he kind of covered it a little bit, but, like, there's, like, billions and billions of people in the world, you know? You're probably gonna say something to match someone, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, that's possible.
But a child?
Yeah, but there's a story. Everybody has a story, you know?
I don't know.
I feel like you're gonna find someone. But
yeah, but
these are like really crazy.
The specifics. Like, I think it's one thing for an adult to maybe make a claim because that subliminal, like, there's something that I like something about it, but like that subliminal, maybe they watched a movie and that story is very similar to a movie and like that, you know, that movie's storyline. And so they want to subconsciously make that up. And just change names, dates, something like that. And yeah, because there are so many people in this world, somebody's bound to match that exact precise, you know, description. But a child?
I mean, it's still the same, right?
I don't think so.
I feel like you could bound to match someone. That chick that remembered like the 25 people.
You say chick like these are adults that we've talked about. These are all about children. Yeah, it's just 25 kids and the relationship she had with them. I mean, 25 people.
Yeah. It's a lot of people to remember.
That is. I mean, or to like make up.
Yeah.
If you're going to make up so like that.
And like that, because that one's very specific.
Very. I don't know. It's just like, I can see it. I can see the argument with it if it were an adult, but with it, if it wasn't. But with a child.
When they get to like. Calling out names and stuff like that, like the little man and stuff like that, and they find out that there is like a little man or something. That's crazy.
Yeah. Or even like these how do you explain the birthmarks? in the same spot, like the one that had the
yeah.
birthmark on the back of the neck and then one on the forehead, and it's like, you know, that person actually was died by being shot in the back of the head like that.
And they even like look similar to the people. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yep. It's insane. I don't know. It just fascinates me. Like, I love hearing these stories and all about them and stuff. We could probably tell you 1,000 more, but
there's plenty more.
So many.
These are some big ones.
But yeah, that's our story. What did you think about this? Did you like it? Do you like stories like this?
I do. They're so interesting.
So fascinating. So fascinating. Which I guess that brings us to our question for today. I mean, there's a lot of discussion we could do about this, but I don't want to make another 2-hour episode. Sorry about that, guys. I'm sure you enjoyed it, though. It's been one of the very popular episodes.
Yeah.
But the question is, do you believe in reincarnation? Like, fully believe in it. Not partially, fully believe in it.
I just don't know what I believe in. It's so hard for me to, like, figure that out. I don't know.
You want me to answer?
I would say no.
No.
Yes and no. I don't know.
To an extent, maybe?
Probably to an extent. Wow, what's your answer?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, 100%. So, like, this
I already knew that.
Oh, yeah. But, like, I don't know. I feel like this has always been something I've been interested in, even as a child. I think because as soon as I found out about reincarnation, found out what it was, I was like, well, I want to be reincarnated. I want to be able to remember my past life and stuff like that. And I think I was one of those people that would try to make up a story for, you know, what my past life was, because I never remembered it. Or maybe I was one of those kids. And Mama, if you're listening to this, did I ever tell you a story about a possible past life? But I think what I kind of believe in and think is that, you know, like, especially these more traumatic cases where they're remembering a past life where they passed away very traumatically.
It's always traumatic too.
It's pretty much always traumatic. The stories you hear are always going to be a traumatic one. You know, there's some that's not as traumatic, but I think that those people, they didn't get to learn their lesson in that life. And this does bring us back into that.
No.
Yeah, we had that conversation before, but I think there was a lesson to be learned and they didn't get to learn it in that life. So they're coming back as a different person in a different view, a different whatever. They could be in the same family or something like that, but to learn a different lesson. And I believe the cycle just keeps going until your soul retires, if you will, from reincarnation, and your soul.
Is that how that works?
Like, I think it could. Like, I think a piece of your soul does, like, I think it's like it breaks off. Like, a piece of your soul is at peace and it rests, and then a piece of it goes. So, like, you're still here. You're still able to watch over and be your spirit and watch over your family and stuff. But a piece of you goes into the next life.
I don't want nobody watching over me.
Family? Yes, you do.
My family?
Not like that, Val. They're not just, you know,
watching me.
I mean, like, I believe I had my family watching over me whenever I had that NDE.
Like, in your thoughts and prayers?
Well, I believe that, yeah, they can hear them. But if you, like, call out to them, I don't think they're eavesdropping and stuff like that. They're like, it's like a guardian angel. Huh?
Okay.
Well, like, they say whenever you see a cardinal or something, that's, you know, somebody in your and a loved one coming to visit you and let you know that they're still around, stuff like that. I fully believe in that. It's just like, you know, us going into an animal or something like that. Reincarnation into an animal.
I don't want to be reincarnated.
It's just into a person.
Oh, speaking of reincarnation.
Well, yeah, that's it.
I was watching one of the Sunny podcasts, and they recently did one, and they were talking about reincarnation. They're like, well, how come you never get, like, reincarnated into, like, a worm?
Do worms have souls?
I don't know. Maybe he should ask that. He was like, that worm looks kind of familiar.
See, I don't think it works like that. Like,
so it's just like
insects
souls
and stuff. Like, I think it's stuff that has a soul.
Yeah, because I mean, why not dogs or cats or anything?
I'm curious. Well, I think that's possible.
Dogs and cats.
Cats, 100%.
Yeah, cats I can see.
Yeah, I
They're
don't know if I
weird.
told this story on the podcast, but when I was like a teenager or whatever, like middle school age, I think we had a cat. My mom rescued her. We thought we were driving home and it was late at night, and it was an orange cat. She thought it was a Berkshire sack or like a brown sack.
Oh.
I don't think it was Berkshire's, but a brown sack going across the road. She almost just ran over it, and I want to say Lacey, my stepsister, I want to say she might have told my mom to stop. It was a cat, and she did, and she put it had like these I can't remember what it's called, but it was a larva, a fly larva. They lay eggs in rabbit holes to it's a parasite, so that like if a fox tries to go down in the rabbit hole to get the rabbit out, these eggs burrow themselves in the neck and they feed on them.
Yeah, I've seen them in humans.
Yeah, it's gross. Well,
Yeah.
the cat had one, so we rescued the cat. So I was a middle school, early high school teenager into cheerleading, and I had a cheerleading magazine, and I was like laying on the ground, flipping through it, and the cat comes up and lays beside me, and it's like she's just laying there, and she's just like, you could see her head going like this, like back and forth between the pages. And it took me a while before I realized it, but the moment that I realized she was really into it with me was I went to turn the page and she stopped me. Like she held the page down with her paw, like put her paw on it. And I was like, okay, I guess you weren't done with this page. Jokingly, I said that. And then like, I don't know, 30 seconds later, she moved her paw. And I was like, okay. So I turned the page and I was like, that was odd. So I tested her. I was like, let me go a little quicker than I did the last time. And sure enough, she moved her paw like I wasn't done with that. So jokingly, I was like, I bet she was I even told my mom this. I wonder if she remembers this. I was like, I wonder if she was a cheerleader, or she must have been a cheerleader in her past life or something like that.
Aww.
Maybe a designer for cheerleading or something.
And cats are like portals.
We're gonna have to have a whole episode about cats.
Okay.
Maybe like the scum of the earth reincarnates into a worm.
Like, they do their own. You're in your own. Like, humans go to humans, maybe.
I don't think so. I
You think we go to animals?
Yeah.
Maybe like mammals, maybe? Mammal to
I
mammal?
don't think it's necessarily that either. I mean, it could be mammal to mammal. Yeah, it could be mammal to mammal. That'd make a lot of sense if it was mammal to mammal.
I don't want to be reincarnated. Do you want to come back here again?
You won't know.
Well, do this
unless
all
you're a kid,
again?
one of these kids. What?
How many times do you want me to do this? Forever? You know, I said I can't do
Until
it
your soul
forever.
retires. I mean, we're in a simulation, so it doesn't matter.
Oh.
Forever?
I got commitment problems with the word forever.
Did that change your mind any though? You still don't know to
About-
an extent, maybe
About reincarnation?
You still
I don't know. It's the same. I don't know what I believe in.
yeah.
I'm
I
just
definitely think that. Like,
open.
yeah, I definitely keep an open mind. I can't
Yeah.
say 100%, whether it's true or not, but I definitely believe it. And I think that once your soul is learned, or it may not even be that you're learning something. It's just that different experiences that your soul needs to experience. It may be a very rough life the next go round, but the one after that may be a very luxurious life. I think it's just your soul needs to go through all the different experiences that the world has to offer.
But it's kind of sucky because you don't remember anything unless you're like under 7 or whatever.
When your soul retires, you probably will. Like, what if it's like once you experience all of these lives, like every single life that the earth has to offer, and then your soul's like 100% max capacity, and then it's like the secrets of the universe just unlock.
Oh, that's not where I thought you were going. I thought it was like...
Where do you think I was going?
I thought it was like you're gonna look down and see all like your 50 lives you lived and being like, oh, I was stupid then, and like, why didn't I do this different and stuff.
Well, I think that's part of that. I do think that would be part of it. Like you would be able to review all
50
of
lives
it.
ago.
But I don't think it would be like that. You might see the highs and the lows of each life, or not the stupidity stuff that you do.
Sad though. You're gonna live like whole lives with people, and
I don't think it'd be sad. I think it'd be very peaceful.
That's almost like a family tree. You're gonna have so many people that you've interacted with and were with.
The secrets of the universe just unlock.
I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this no more.
I don't know. That's my thought.
Do you have a commitment issue with the word forever? Let me know I'm not alone. Do you want to do something forever? I don't.
I mean, nobody wants to do something forever.
You seem like you do.
I mean, yeah, I'll recycle forever. I don't
You'll
care.
recycle forever?
I keep looking at this picture of this earthworm. It's kind of gross.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know.
It's too much.
Do you believe in reincarnation?
Yeah.
Past lives? And that, children have the ability, or do you think that do you think that children have the ability to remember their past lives? And, or do you think that they're just very good at making up stories that have, that's somewhere out there match somebody's story?
I mean, it's bound to happen, but I don't know. A lot of these are specific, but
it's too specific for me to not believe it.
Yeah. If you were one of those kids, or you know a story, we would like to know.
Were you a child that could remember your past life?
I know, that's crazy. I can't even remember like yesterday. 10-second Tom here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, I really can't remember my childhood. Trauma.
I remember a lot about my childhood.
I can't.
Yeah.
I remember like the bad stuff.
Yes, I can't remember yesterday or the day before, but I can remember when I was like 2.5, 3 years old.
Y'all are like, you guys remember like so much of y'all's like childhood. I'm like, what? Like the names of y'all's teachers and crap like that. I'm like, what? How? Like, I don't know if it's because I went to like a lot of schools, but still, I'm like, how?
Yeah, that's probably it. I think mine had a lot to do with it was a small school, so like
you were like born and raised there.
Yeah, well, I wasn't born. Yeah, my mom moved where I grew up,
but so
when I was 9 months old. So yeah,
like the three of y'all went to the same schools, like same town. Same
yeah,
school. Okay,
yeah.
So maybe that is why
pre-K to 12th grade.
Yeah. Dang, that's crazy.
And it's a small town. Number one, my mom knew everybody.
I hate that. I literally hate that.
I mean, I got away with so much, and I don't know how, because my mom knew about like almost all of it, but because she knows everybody, probably because I was a baby.
Get out of my business. I hate that.
But I think that is why, because like, I mean, even if I was, so like my school was like first grade was these four doors, second grade was these 4 doors, third grade was these 4 doors. Even if I moved to third grade, I'm still seeing my first grade teacher. So it wasn't like I went to second grade, never saw my first grade teacher again. It was you're in the same school up until middle school or 5th grade or whatever is when we moved. But so. Yeah.
Wow. All right. So thanks for listening to this episode. You can find us on YouTube and leave us a comment and like us and subscribe. Mm-hmm. You can do that on Facebook.
Yes.
We're on all the podcasts.
Yeah. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podcast Addicts,
Pandora. I don't know.
I don't remember.
Just look it up and see.
Look it up and see. The Radium Girls Podcast.
The Radium Girls Podcast.
I mean, you're already listening to us on something. Just share it with your friends.
Give us some 5 stars or something. A good review.
Yeah.
Share it like she said. And that's it.
That's our story for today.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for listening.
So we will see you next time. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay curious.
His father asked him the name of the boat, and he said, Notama. Notamo. Notamo.
Not a boat. You keep
rearranging like dyslexia, just flip the O and A.
You rearranging all the letters.
Natoma?
Yeah, I think that's Natoma.
Okay.
Form digits. Mishappen head. Mishappen. Wow. I read that earlier.
Whoa. That's hilarious.
Mishappen head. I mean, it almost says mishappen.
I mean, kinda.